This is Morning Perfect Base, and today I am actually not going to work on my perfect base. I am going to do a raid. As you can see, I've got the Ill Omen status effect in the upper right corner of my screen, and I'm going to go to Perfect Base 3, the old Perfect Base, which is a village, and I am going to do a raid. See, Omen's gone, and that raid is going to power up as those dudes spawn in. I think that you can basically visualize, or maybe you've experienced for yourself. I'm going to switch my armor out here because I got my walking around armor, and I'm going to switch into my diamond armor. Also, I'm going to look like a spaz here for a second. I'm going to blame all that on lag. So, if you've dealt with a regular raid inside of a regular village before, then you know what that looks like. A bunch of assholes come at you. If you have a newer village, you've got a bell. You ring the bell, your villagers go inside, and you can see the bad guys' outlines through like buildings and stuff. This is in a well-developed base where people have been living for a while, and there's villagers just to my right there. It's like a whole apartment. It's like a whole apartment complex of villagers. Being recorded changes how you behave. So I'm going to attribute about 20-25% of all my fuck-ups to that. I am currently looking for these guys because I have no idea where they are. I have no idea what direction they're coming from. I have fended off enough raids at this base that I'm familiar with the general areas where these guys spawn at. So I'm doing a circuit right now just so I can see around. One huge design flaw with this base, which I may have mentioned before, is the fact that the core level here at the top of that is much lower than some of the other levels. I'm going to check the apartments here just to see if some illagers and pillagers got inside. I'm going to use those terms interchangeably. These llamas got out. I got to corral some llamas at some point in the future. It's bullshit. Regardless, I'm just kind of checking through. It looks like that guy had, some kind of non-standard gear. I'm still not used to the visual pattern of the new villager designs where they have, the flashier, stylish clothing. They're wearing things that aren't just some drab browns and greens and stuff like that. They're actually wearing stuff. And it's a much better visual representation of what they do. I don't have all that down yet, but still. This is my little plaza here. I guess you could call it a courtyard. And it lets me look into all these rooms to check for pillagers or whatnot. I don't see anything. Before there were zombie raids, so zombies could spawn in those rooms. And again, those glass doors are one. It kind of breaks up everything just being... If you look at the first level, it's some really boring stuff. In terms of just having rows of rooms. So that courtyard breaks everything up visually. Here's a top level space for gardeners. Whenever I built this, it was kind of just for looksies. But now villagers actually use gardens, so I need to maintain this. You can tell that it's, a lot of those plots have been trumped down. I also need to see if the new villager types actually need anything else as part of their ecology. I'm not really going to add it here because this is an old used-to-be base. I don't use this thing anymore. It's basically abandoned. So, still have not found the pillagers or villagers. All of these walls, they break line of sight. They do keep the pillagers and villagers out there. It's an effective barrier. So it's at least working for me in that respect. Even if I can't exactly see... what's going on here. So that is one issue with this, is that there's no... You can't vine up those stairs. So, alright. Now I finally found the guys, and we're going to just try to hit him. My lag isn't too bad right now. It'll fluctuate throughout this. I'm going to bitch about it at the worst part ever. Right over those walls is another village that I abandoned building. So we are on several levels of abandoned villagerness. These guys don't shoot very quickly. I suppose that's the point of crossbows, is that they don't shoot very quickly. So that gives me a lot of time to work with. I had initially thought the lag was screwing with me on this one, but I think I'm really just not swinging right. This is a complete failure of basic skills. The sword I'm using is, I think, a Smite 4 sweeping edge sword. Not your ideal for fighting these guys. And for someone who has a dedicated shield and armor set just for combat, I should have a much better generic sword for this. The sweeping edge is just because I'm so fucking tired of dealing with babies. But, on further reflection. Alright, so I've defeated the first wave. That's just dudes with crossbows. Usually there's a dude with a hatchet. There's a couple dudes with crossbows. I got the one banner, and that's going to be the first. There's going to be 5 waves to this. And thank God for those guys with banners. How is that for game design? You can see all the way over there the guy with the banner. I was going to do something else, and then I remembered that I have villagers over in that village that I would like to defend. And then they came to me. So we kind of end up replaying what we just did. Regardless, I'm going to try to get up here and try to get to the guys with the hatchets. This fucking fat-ass llama is in my way. Fuck that guy. And we're going to run over here, and I'm going to deal with the hatchet dudes. So, and I can also note where my torches are laid out, because I end up busting up half these torches here while I'm doing this. And again, just swing and missing. I'd have struck out if this was baseball, for crying out loud. But they can't get to me. They apparently cannot climb vines. And I've apparently made enough wild swings that I can wrap up this little moment. I try to put a torch down here, but I forgot I'm carrying a shield. 99.9% of the time I am carrying a shield. So, not a shield, torches. So it's very needful for me to carry a shield. I'm still not 100% used to it. You see that I don't use it for a lot of this time. It's also hard for me to kind of get the timing right on when these guys are going to shoot at me. For the longest time when I fought these dudes, I assumed that they were not shooting at me and that they were simply bugged into some kind of weird buzzing passivity. But that is not the case. They are planning on taking some shots at me. And you can see that even as I hit them, that meter goes down. So it isn't just, ever so much meter space per dude. It is actually based on their total number of hit points. So there's going to be beasts are going to start spawning. And whenever they do, they're going to make up a huge chunk of... is that... No. They're going to make up a huge chunk of the raid bar. And I kind of want to check this village out just for safety, but I feel like they are going to spawn around the original village I was in, which is algorithmically... They used to be based on the wells, and the wells is in the center of my base. That's a great shot, right? The self-esteem soars, and then I just embarrass myself. Look at that. Look at those. I mean, some of that's lag, but not a lot of it, man. So this guy's close enough I can switch to guns. I gotta fucking massage him a couple times before he just spontaneously drops dead. So yeah, they're going to spawn around the village that the raid started at, which is this one right here, which is algorithmically... That's a door to my dungeon. Which is algorithmically based around all those doors now. And that's why that entire thing is built around a bunch of... It's so disappointing. I lowered my head here in shame for missing that shot. That is one of the biggest, physically largest units in this game. He was stock still. I had a beat on him, and I just missed. There's also something that seems to be off with the aggro on the beasts right now, where they just... Like, he's coming back, but I feel like he's not really hitting me. I realize that part of his attack is a charge attack, but he's not... He doesn't seem fully responsive. My first one, I would have left, like, in a river off to the right there, because in my first raid, he wasn't even attacking at all. I didn't even get it. But these guys are really dangerous. You'll see later whenever I fight one. So now we're going to get wave 4, which is going to be a whole thing. And I got to look for that all over again. That's my hunting ground, by the way. It's supposed to get monsters in it. They fucked up my tree. I'm pretty sure these guys fucked up my tree because I don't know what else could have happened to it. Regardless, those beasts are pretty interesting to fight. Again, I don't know why they don't aggro correctly. Maybe they'll aggro correctly later on. But I think one of the reasons I'm having lag is because of all these fucking chickens. I didn't even think about it at the time. That's a lot of goddamn chickens. And then you got villagers, and they're just popping in and out of those doors all the time. I'm not set up to get the audio from Minecraft as I play it. It happens sometimes, not regularly. But if I did, you would be getting nothing but screaming villagers and door slammings every time I'm even close to that place. It is bad. So I'm about to find the fourth wave. You can see this is kind of an unintentional functional tour of this base. I've put up tours before. I don't think people are that interested in the design. I'm a big fan of it. I just absolutely love it. I can hear them now. I'm just not sure where they are at this point. But I'm going to turn to the left soon, and I'm going to see some witches. 3 witches spawned with this one. That's a little high. But it's perfectly in spec for the fourth wave. They get witches. You got to be careful about that. They're the only things I fear here. Like, you're going to see me wrestle with an Invoker and some Vexes here in a bit, but I guarantee you they're not as bad as those witches. They hit you with the potions of poisoning, and you just take damage over time until you're like half a heart, at which case you just die. I'm handling these guys pretty well. I'm not going to waste arrows on them. I'm going to pop down there with a sword and a shield. But again, it's hard for me to anticipate when they're going to shoot me. I got tons of armor on. I don't use shields. I just got the using a shield enchantment. That sweeping edge is finally coming in handy. I'm going to push too close to this and get hatcheted, I think, at least one more time before... Oh, well, there you go. He dies. So it actually reflects the arrows back. Again, I don't know if that's a property unique to crossbows or shields. I rarely ever use shields. These guys are practically killing each other and themselves for me. Plus that sweeping edge got me a lot of value here. So he's going to die, and I'm going to pick up all their stuff. That's kind of what I do. I'm a pack rat. And we're going to move on to the fifth and final. I'm looking for those arrows because I'm real stingy with arrows. Fifth and final wave. And I failed to jump over that. I believe like every time here, like the importance of that bell. I think that you can silk touch a bell from one of the new villages and transplant it into a new village, and it'll still function just fine. Damn it. I've not been doing great at running starts. A miracle which you take for granted here is that I hit that button and that door opened and I slid through that door and there was no lag, there was no discontinuity. It fucking worked. People ask, why don't you work with redstone? And the reason I don't work with redstone is because that mechanism with the button and the door freaking makes my entire system just go. So yeah, no, it's bad. So the fact that worked on the first time without me rubber banding back outside of the building is just freaking amazing. All right, and here we go. Final beast and the little guy riding him. Sometimes there will be a guy riding him, which makes sense because he has a saddle, right? So at this point, I want to feel like a real man. I want to use these potions, and I want to really get hand-to-hand with these guys because pecking at this guy with arrows is just not how I get to know these raids, right? Like, it doesn't do anything for my feel. I would like to experience, even if that means experiencing it in the less than optimal way. So I'm going to get down here and actually go toe-to-toe with this guy. That experience is somewhat lessened by the fact that I start getting some pretty bad lag here. You're going to see some instances later where he's standing over there and suddenly I take damage and get knocked back. But regardless, it's a pretty good fight. I start kind of losing some track. I don't want to say I get bored. It's just like I get accustomed to the stimulus, and I'm just hacking at this guy. I am hacking at this dude. And the only reason I was hanging even that far, I think, was because of that potion of regeneration, which I really took for granted. And that thing wore off, and I started really losing some space. I have no idea what that bull's doing, and then I stumble right back into a skeleton. But again, it's a smite sword. So if anything, I'm well equipped to deal with those skeletons. Proud of the usage of that splash potion there. That knight potion, I probably could have gotten more use out of. I probably just should have used it earlier. I don't think it would have subtracted much. And like, when do I ever use these things? Pretty nice shot. Have you ever shot a bow whilst falling through the air? Well, there you go. And apparently that was all that was needed to finish that dude off while I was running around. But anyway, and so this witch is broken off from the pack, which I'm very fortunate about. As you're going to see, everyone else is still kind of together. It looked like hell, full of arrows from a skeleton, I assume. And of all freaking things, I get a healing potion, which is good. I use that later. You couldn't make a story this good. There's a zombie over there. I don't know what he's going to be doing because I think he can jump up here. This used to be a solid wall of sand and sandstone on my right here. Just, again, neglect in time has resulted in various encounters, various me being lazy and just taking out blocks, and then, Endermen. I'm next door, I'm 50 blocks down, I'm doing stuff. Endermen pop up here at night and they take blocks. So that's the little space where my arrows used to be. I'm out of arrows. I've been trying to hit that Pillager. I don't know if you can see it with this resolution. Other motherfuckers keep jumping in front of him because the last thing I want to do is deal with those Vexes because, oh my god, those Vexes are the hardest thing about. I mean, these guys, look at them. They're just in a food line basically for kicking my ass. My ass is the meal. And so I got to deal with these guys. And one thing I want to bitch about is that the model for this, I get the hang of it after a while, but my first impression on the model is that it's very hard to tell the human-shaped figure in a game which does not do perspective well is exactly how far away it is. And that's very frustrating before you get used to it. And it's just frustrating after that whenever these guys fly, damn it, straight through. I think this is the view where I realize how screwed I am, and I realize that the Invoker can summon these dudes multiple times. It's just a cooldown, and that cooldown is shorter than the time it takes these guys to fuck off. So I'm bad at hitting small things. These guys are ever around me, and I gotta go after that. I gotta go after the Invoker, right? Or else I'm screwed. So I take him out, but I think I didn't stop the last batch. So I've got 9 Vexes trying to chew a goddamn hole in my pixelated ass. I got no idea how I'm going to fucking deal with this. I was not aware these guys burn in the sunlight. So then I thought, hey, what if I use this? And I think I got one of them there. I may have softened up 2 or 3 other ones. But, and I am completely unaware of it, but I think other ones are dying in the sunlight now. I don't know what the rules for that are. But suddenly I think I'm dealing with like 4 or 5 instead of 9. Maybe the first wave of them timed out. But, I'm getting my ass totally kicked here. You remember that scene in The Empire Strikes Back? There you go, I'm eating a chicken while these guys fucking kick my ass some more. That's as bold as they get. I don't know if they are actually aware that I'm not holding a sword now, or if like it's just bad luck that they decided to get real bold the moment I put my sword down. So in The Empire Strikes Back, where Vader's fighting Luke and Vader's using all the telekinesis stuff, and Luke's just trying to hit it, and he's just missing time after time. Feels a lot like that. Feels bad, man. And it's right out of fucking no. You see that? How he popped out of that, and then suddenly he was right on top of me? It was very fast. I'm just not accustomed to. I think the sunlight killed more of these dudes than I did, in all honesty. It's not really a proud performance, but at this point I felt comfortable writing them off. I guess I strayed enough from the pack that they flew out of range and they just didn't re-aggro until right now. Right now. Because I'm about to hit these guys and then suddenly I check my 6 for Vexes and then I'm like, no, it's safe. There's no Vexes. And they look and hit me right up my little bum hole. And so all of a sudden I have to be wary of Vexes again. And then eventually I'm just like, screw it, let's murder these dudes. So I don't think Vexes are in any way tied to the raid. I think that, there we go. That's a sweeping edge. I think I can kill these guys and still have Vexes, and the raid will still be over. So, and that's it. And I got tons of beat up crossbows. You get a totem from the Invoker, which I don't use because I would much rather have something that would help me survive in my offhand than a totem that's kind of betting on me dying. And there's one guy left, and again, a really great design for this raid bar, telling you who's left, and how much more work you got to go before it's done with. You get emeralds. I think the captains drop emeralds. I have a lot of glass bottles there, and you get some iron axes. Trust me, I haven't made an axe in a long time, simply because the patrols and the raids themselves have kept me well equipped with iron axes. And then I come back here, and this guy's trying to murder me, so I try to murder him right back. But I got that sweeping edge, right? So I hit some villagers a little bit with a diamond sword. Like, they're not even undead. I don't know what the problem is, but they're all angry about it anyway. So I'm trying to show the interactions of I have the Savior of the Village trait up there, right? And it gives you, like, they require fewer things to give you money in trade, and then they will charge you fewer emeralds whenever you're trading. And I'm trying to find one villager who's not pissed off about a little bit of friendly fire, who will trade with me so I can show you that. See, this is the geometric center of my village, and that's why I ended up with an iron golem in the middle of it. Useless iron golem. And you get some saddles too. So I think I've got all the saddles I could ever need. Saddles don't wear out. So I could put them on a lot of horses. Those horses could get lost, and I'd be out almost nothing. It's the ominous banner that you get. They actually attract, when you put them up, I believe they attract more patrols to wherever you are. So that's kind of bad. I got no emeralds in my ender chest. I think I've been keeping them all outside of that. So we'll see what's up. And then I'm going to see if I can do some trades. It's going to take me a while of kind of like running around trying to find a dude who ain't pissed at me. See, he's pissed at me. They're all pissed at me. You drab-colored motherfuckers. There you go. You're new. Aren't you cool? He's not cool. Just because he's dressed like a guy from a 90s sitcom on the Disney Channel, he doesn't mean he's friendly. Those are the llamas from the Traveling Trader, who's not around. Sometimes he's invisible. So maybe he's here the whole... I don't know. I don't know if any of this affects him. But there you go. See, it takes fewer meats and fewer coal for him to give me emeralds. And all of his stuff only costs 1 emerald, which is a slightly more reasonable economy than previously. Same thing for him. So, he takes less gold, takes fewer zombie hands. So maybe if you're going to trigger one of these, try to know what villagers are in your village. I've long since lost control of this place. This place is completely out of hand. Look at this shit. These people are fucking everywhere. They're assholes. Anyway, here's a room full of dudes. I think this has the guy. Yeah, right. See? So he is a cleric. Usually he would charge me 3 emeralds for an Enderman eye. Now he's only going to charge me. Usually he charged me 4. Now he's only going to charge me 3. I'm going to buy some glowstone off of him because I haven't actually worked with villagers in the new paradigm. They level up very slowly. And it's at a loss. There's not a lot they offer me. So most of my trades, I think, are going to be me selling them things. And not gold either. Gold's valuable. I find it very hard to part with things. Mostly I just trade zombie hands and paper to these guys. Sometimes some raw meat for things I don't. If I could trade potatoes to dudes, wheat, I've been super disappointed at the baked potato lately. Because there's no satiation to it. Anyway, I'm just griping right now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it here. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope this was educational for you.